Hey disc golfers, welcome back to Caddy Chat, episode 12. We're excited to have you back. I'm your host, Jacob Arvidsson, joined by Josh Wood. And we've got a lot to discuss this episode. Just kidding. Actually, not that much. But we're going to have fun with it. So, What do we got on the show today?
We're going to talk about the Shelly Sharpe. Was that an open? Shelly Sharpe Memorial?
Yeah, Memorial.
Down in Arizona. And then some audience suggested topics. We're going to talk about time violations.
Yeah.
We aim to get disc golf. And that is actually it. That's all we're going to talk about today.
That's really it. So, as always, please like, subscribe, share the video. Especially with our discussion, we'd love to hear your feedback in regards to time violations when we start talking about it in a couple minutes. You know, what are your thoughts? Is there anything we forgot to add? Is there any experiences you guys have had in tournament play where you have called someone on it, haven't called someone on it, had an opportunity where you wish you had said something, or just your overall feelings on, you know, even dating back to last year with the Nico LaCastro thing. Gannon Burr's gotten a lot of flack for it on the Pro Tour as well. But in general, you know, on the professional level, how do you feel it as well? So, yeah.
Or other topics you want us to talk about.
Absolutely, that too. Throw something in the comments. This week we're pulling from a comment we received last week, and that's why we're talking about time violations today. So we'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you want us to talk about next? Do you have a good discussion topic for us, or a question you want us to tackle? Anything like that, we'd love to hear. So thanks as always for your feedback and your engagement with the podcast. Helps us out a ton.
Yeah.
All right, Shelly Sharpe Memorial was this past weekend.
Yeah.
Before we dive into MPO, where all the fun stuff was, FPO, we touched on it briefly in our predictions. We said Jen Allen and Maria Oliva would get first and second.
And they did.
And they very much did.
23 stroke difference, but first and second place.
So we'll take it.
Yeah.
Jen Allen killed it, though.
Jen was the only one under par.
She played really well.
She was 21 under par. Which
she played really well.
Yeah.
So good for you, Jen. I believe the disc golf guy had the FPO coverage. He just has not released it yet. So if you want to wait and watch that, just stay tuned for a couple of weeks. I think he will release it later.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Probably.
All right, MPO. That's where the drama was. That's where the fun stuff was.
Yeah.
What happened in MPO?
It was an exciting tournament to watch. I was glad that there was coverage so quick, some next day coverage. Andrew Marweed destroyed the field, really. First round, he was 10 under.
He was in control the whole time.
And there was like a 6-way tie for second place at 5 under.
Yeah.
So he was 5 clear already and never let up. So, and neither one of us picked him last week, so shame on us.
Yeah, and that's frustrating because he is a Michigan guy,
yeah.
And we've given him a ton of hype on the show. He was our number 3 player to watch in Michigan this year, and he shows up to the first term of the year.
We didn't watch him. We weren't watching him.
We didn't pick him.
So, yeah, shame on us. But congrats to Andrew. He played great golf, and, just right out of the gate. His first round was 1,080 rated, somewhere in there.
1082, I think. 1083.
82, 83, somewhere around there. Yeah. I don't know if it's official yet. They're all unofficial for a while. But yeah, he played great golf. And actually, I was looking at this earlier. He averaged 1060 golf for the event. So
very impressive.
Fantastic golf.
Now, props to you, Josh. Second place,
Thank you.
Noah Meinsma.
Noah.
And if you guys watched,
wild card.
Yeah, if you watched last week's episode, that was Josh's third pick.
Yep.
For his top 3 was Noah Meinsma, who ends up finishing in second with a great weekend.
Yes. He played some great golf as well.
Andrew Marweed aside, Noah Meinsma was great, and a big weekend overall for DGA. I mean, top 2 spots.
First and second place to DGA.
Go to DGA.
Yeah, Noah averaged 1046 rated golf as well, so
not too shabby.
Fantastic.
Not too shabby.
And I wanted to shout out third place. Jake Brown, just 1,000 rated golfer. He was, when I sorted by ratings, I was keeping my eye on him because he was 15th or 16th maybe on the list in the tournament,
Mm-hmm.
and third place. He played some great golf as well.
And he's only been playing for 2.5 years, 3 years.
Yeah,
something like that.
1,040 rated golf average for the weekend.
Yeah.
And he was the one they were talking about, was a baseball player.
Yep.
And couldn't play during COVID, so thought, hey, what's this disc golf thing? Now here he is getting third place at the Shelly Sharpe Memorial.
It's cool stuff.
Well done. So all three of them, great rounds.
And as far as our picks go, we're gonna keep some points over the course of the season. Josh and I.
Yeah.
Josh is winning right now.
Yeah.
Largely
those were pretty good picks.
Largely due to Noah Mindsma.
The wild card did.
But you also had what, Gibson and Hammis?
Yep.
So
and they got 4th and 5th. So.
Yeah, he got 3 in the top 5. I did not. Although Nick Newton still finished 12th.
He did. That was a great pick as well.
Not horrible. We're still in the game.
Yeah.
Long way to go.
Yeah, maybe we'll put the score up there in a minute, or maybe we'll just wait a few weeks and let you know the scores then.
Might just give you updates. We're still working out the scoring process.
The point is, I'm winning right now.
Josh is beating me. Yes.
And it was with wild card Noah Mindsma.
Though we should lose points for not picking Andrew Marweed.
We'll talk about it.
Or gain points.
We'll talk about it, yeah.
Anyway, that's the Shelly Sharpe. Good action. Fun action, especially if you're a Michigan person.
Yep.
Please go watch it. Support Andy. He balled out, and we love to see that. So we're happy for him. And
yeah, absolutely.
Great start to his season. All right, audience suggested feedback from last week. We pulled this from several of the comments. Well, we had several comments. We pulled this one from those comments. Yeah. So thanks to you that commented last week. Please continue to do so like we already said. Toss a comment down below for a future topic. But this week, we are going to talk about time violations. And this comment came from Anthony Lee. He dropped a comment for us on Facebook. He said, how about you guys talk about time violations? He feels like there needs to be a better approach, especially considering differences between lies, and that some are worse than others.
Sure.
Wherever you are on the course.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony said he didn't have a solution, but he'd love to hear our thoughts and if we have a solution.
Sure.
So you want to take it away first?
Yeah, I'll go first. First of all, thanks, Anthony. It's a good topic, and I think it's a timely one. Right now, there is a 30-second time limit that we have from when we set up at our disc until we release our disc for the throw. And this is something that's been really controversial in the last few years with Nico especially.
Yep.
My opinion is that 30 seconds is dumb, that it's not enough time, and it's not an excessive amount of time. I think actually Nico gets picked on unfairly about this, because I think if you watch coverage carefully, you'll see, I think it's 20 to 30% of the field that takes more than 30 seconds, either putting or driving, but they take more than their 30 seconds, and they're known for it. It's not this deep, dark secret in disc golf. Like, everybody knows they take a long time, but Nico's the only one that seems to get picked on. And so just the fact that many professionals do take more than 30 seconds, I think itself is indicative that it's probably not enough time to have a good shot and a reasonable amount of time to make your shot. Now, to Anthony's point, in regard to lies, the PDGA rules do kind of allow for that, because one of the sub rules says something about you have 30 seconds after you've had reasonable time to find your disc or to get to your disc, yep, and to determine a lie. So if you're in a bush and you're trying to figure out where am I going to put my foot, what are my lanes here, the clock doesn't start the second you walk up to the disc.
Yep.
So there's already, but what does reasonable mean? What's a reasonable amount of time? That's a pretty poorly worded rule.
Come on, PDGA.
Yeah, we can do better.
Get that word out of there.
But ultimately, I think it needs to be more than 30 seconds anyway.
Okay.
What do you think, Jake?
Well, I want to know, do you have a solution first? Anthony said he didn't have one. Do you have a solution? Like, you say 30 seconds is not excessive. So at what point does it become excessive? Or are you saying, there really doesn't need to be a hard line time stance because,
Right.
so like my example is outside of disc golf
Mm-hmm.
in the state of Michigan, on a couple of the highways several years back, they were passing a law to move the speed limit from 70 to 75,
Oh yeah.
and the law enforcement officers were saying, it really is not going to change how fast people go, because they're always going to go how fast they feel is safe anyway.
Yeah.
So they're already traveling at a high speed. If they're going between 70 and 80, they're really going to stay between 70 and 80. Whether the speed limit is 70 or 75 wouldn't make a difference.
Okay.
So is that kind of what you're saying here? Like if someone takes 25 seconds, 35 seconds, 40 seconds, they're always kind of going to be in that range, and nobody's going to be taking 3 minutes because it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway.
In a perfect world, I think that would be the case. I don't think anybody would take more than a minute, and if they are being excessive about it, there's got to be a way to say something. I wish you didn't have to, but no, there's got to be a limit. But I think so. The PGA, that's
Ball
golf, playing disc golf, but you're playing it with a ball, and there's a hole that you have to get the ball into, like an actual hole in the ground.
Interesting concept.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's catching on. But they have a time limit. They have 40 seconds. And there are 2 times, I believe. I'm not an expert at ball golf. But there's 2 exceptions to the 40 seconds. If you're the first one to take a stroke on a par 3, then you're allowed an additional 20 seconds.
Okay.
And if you're the first one to take a second shot on a par 4, you get an additional 20 seconds.
Okay.
I don't know why they wouldn't play that over to the third shot on a par 5 as well, but I didn't see that in the rules. So,
but regardless, you're talking about a minute.
Regardless, they get 40 seconds,
Yeah.
sometimes a minute, and I don't think a minute is excessive. So, since we do probably have to put a time limit on it, I think it should be a minute. In Anthony's case, if he's talking about a really bad lie, that minute shouldn't start the second you walk up there anyway. So I think you should have plenty of time with a minute.
Okay.
And I do think that most people are reasonable, and they're not going to take a full minute to make a putt. And I don't think some people say, well, if you had time, then it's just going to make all our rounds last that much longer. But the fact is, most of us don't take 20 seconds. So it's not going to add that much time to the round. If there's one guy who's already taking 35, 40 seconds, he's probably still going to take 35, 40 seconds. I don't think he's going to take suddenly a minute and 10 seconds.
Okay. So your solution is change the rule. If you had the power to do so, change the rule to 1 minute instead of 30 seconds being the line of excessiveness.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my solution. And I think
it's simple enough.
Yeah. And again, because of the prevalency of longer time being used on tour, I just think it's good for everybody.
Now, the other thing you've mentioned to me that you've noticed in commentary, is what?
I've noticed in the last 6 months, maybe even 3 months,
kind of really crescendoing on from the Nico Lacastro situation last year at the European Open.
Yes. Now suddenly I'm hearing commentators joking about other players taking a long time, as if it's no big deal. And so, classic case, Gannon. Everybody knows Gannon takes a long time. Yep. Nobody gives him a hard time about it. A lot of times on commentary, they laugh about it. But I'm hearing more of that kind of joking about the time on commentary. And even there was one I was watching last month, and I won't name it. But as somebody who's stepping up to putt, who everybody knows takes a long time, but their name's not Nico, you could see the cuts in the video, and the commentator made a joke about, we had to cut this down because, we don't have all day. We can't show you his entire routine. So I found that interesting that they're going to joke about it. Maybe it's because there's a movement there on tour to get things changed.
Player-wise.
And maybe these players are saying, look, we're all doing it. Like, let's change this. That's just my guess, though.
Okay.
I don't know.
No,
But I'm noticing it mentioned a lot more on coverage.
we're just speculating here.
And
but
never in a judgmental way, always in a joking way.
Okay. Always poking fun at the current rule.
Yes.
Is what you've noticed.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So we'll see.
My thoughts on this, Anthony, and anyone else who is curious about time violations, is I'm really not sure. I think if I had to take a stance, Josh and I were talking before the show, like what's our hardline stance here? For me, if I had to take a hardline stance, I would say 100% there needs to be a line. So whether it's 30 seconds or a minute, there has to be a line at some point. The reason I would lean if I had to pick 30 seconds over a minute, I think I would still pick 30 seconds. The main case being, like Josh said, majority of players, 70 to 80%, are nowhere near the 30 seconds. Right? How long do you take to throw a putt, for example?
I'm not sure. I've been meaning to time it, though.
Okay. I know me, it's less than 10 seconds every time. And that's even with stepping up, analyzing my aim point on the chains, collecting myself, taking, 1 or 2 seconds to line up the shot, swinging back and swinging through. It's never more than 10 seconds for my own routine. Now that doesn't mean someone else can't take longer or do more pump fakes to warm themselves up. It doesn't really matter to me, but I think in general, like you said, most people are under 30 seconds to begin with. So that's point number one for me, picking the side of the current rule. Most people are there already. There's really no excuse, in my opinion, for taking longer than that. And I'm really talking the putting green at this point. Mm-hmm. I get it out on the fairway, and that's why we said, the PDGA has that subset in the rule where talking about reasonable time in regards to a lie. Because, if you're in a bush full of prickly branches and you can't reach your disc, or by the time you do get in there to reach your disc, you can't see the basket anymore, and you got to walk back out and reassess your line. Choose a different disc because the angle is completely different once you're in the bush. That kind of a thing. That's really not what I'm talking about here. And I think with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 players, nobody takes excessive time on the fairway per se.
Not usually, but I would come back with this. I just did go through my head. I started a stopwatch and went through my routine in my head to figure out about how long I take. And I think it's about 20 seconds. But you're in a tournament. This is a really important putt. It's windy. Maybe you struggle with your mental game. I know I do. I've been working on that the last couple of years. But I could see myself on a windy day taking my normal 18 to 20 seconds and then just having to stop a second and take a deep breath and get my mental game under control, and then maybe go through half my routine. I could see it taking 35 seconds, and I don't feel like that's excessive. Am I supposed to throw unprepared just because you're in a hurry?
No. However, I actually think it would be the opposite. For me in tournament play, when I've been nervous, when it's been a weird weather situation, or in a big putt on the line, I actually throw quicker. And I think that's been what I've recognized with other players too, especially even on tour. You see somebody miss a putt in a big situation, it's usually because they get jumpy and they fire too quick.
Right. So I'm trying to take my time.
Well, I get that, but my point is that right now, the 30 seconds isn't coming into play for the majority of people, which means 30 seconds is a good number. If you're going to a minute, now you're accounting for 20% of people that shouldn't have been taking that long in the first place. So I'm going to go hard line on the 30 seconds. I think that's a good number to choose from. If I was getting picky, I would actually move it up to 25, but that's just dumb. I'm not going to do that to anybody.
Yeah.
30 seconds I think is fair. Josh disagrees.
I do.
The solution to the time violation thing, like penalty-wise, for Anthony's question, is The solution is self-regulated sport can't call this. Because the same
Yeah.
reason people were struggling to call Nico on it is the same reason why you and I would struggle to call in a tournament. It messes up the vibes on the card. It messes up
nobody
the
wants
flow
that.
of the whole tournament. Nobody wants that responsibility. You're focusing on your own round. And
Yeah.
most of the time, if not all of the time, the person doing the time violation is not intentionally doing it.
Right.
Yeah, it might be against the rules, but they're not trying to mess with you. And if they are,
99.99%. Yeah.
if they are, then I absolutely have a problem with it. But like
Correct.
me, for example, if someone takes 30 or 40 seconds, I might be sitting there like, come on, you don't need 25 pump fakes to throw this 10-foot putt. You don't. However, I'm not calling you on it.
Yeah.
Sorry. Because if I call you on it on hole 6 and we're on a lead card, what's the next 12 holes going to look like? It's going to be some tension on the card I want no part of. I'm trying to focus on my own round, play my own game.
But we say that about every rule. That's the problem with the self-regulated sport, for sure.
But
it's tricky. Can we compromise at 45?
Sure. Like I said, I'm not sold on 30. Like, I really don't care. Yeah. But if I had to pick, I would say 30 seconds just based on the statistics and of people.
I don't think majority should rule, though, just because most people take that much time. Sometimes the masters take a little longer to create art.
All right. That's fine, Josh. Josh is a master.
Well,
I think
in one sense,
at the end of the day, the person, like if we go to the Nico situation, which is really what spurred this whole thing, got it into the public talking point. Gannon a little bit as well.
Yeah.
But Nico was the one that kind of pushed it over the edge where everybody knew about it. I think the main point with that is that was not a self-officiated decision. That was a European Open PDGA official making that call. And I think that's the important point.
Yeah, I think the important point is that the time shouldn't have been violated to begin with. It shouldn't have been a violation.
You're saying change the rule.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm saying it doesn't need to be changed, but I'm not calling it unless I'm the official. So here's another question. We've been talking about setting up a tournament, being tournament directors, setting up tournaments.
Yeah.
If you're a TD and somebody comes to you saying, hey, this guy's taking 45 seconds every time he throws, by rule, that's a violation. Hey, can you come watch this guy?
Yeah.
And you go watch him when he's near you if you can. And sure enough, you pull out the timer. He just took 48 seconds to throw his putt.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I've got to call him on it.
Okay.
That's the rule. And I'm the...
So, you're following the rules as the TD, as you should.
Yeah, for sure.
But as a player...
I think it's stupid.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
Okay. And
the PGA changes so many rules every year, trying to fight for relevancy. Like, just change this one. This one would be easy.
At bare minimum, PDGA, get rid of reasonable.
Yeah.
The word is terrible.
Define some terms.
Yeah, that's your starting point. Whether you go with me or Josh here or anyone else, doesn't matter. Change reasonable. It's bad. It's a bad word. All right. That unless you have another point, Josh, I think that wraps up our time violation discussion. Thanks again, Anthony Lee, for suggesting that. We really appreciate it. And those of you who want us to talk about your thing, please drop a comment below. We would love to consider it for a future episode. Yeah. We had 1 or 2 comments last week that we'll be probably touching on in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
So,
do you want to talk about them at all or leave it a surprise?
It'll be a surprise. Okay. We haven't figured out exactly what order we're going to go in yet. But yeah, just because you drop a comment on this episode and it doesn't get picked up next time doesn't mean that it's not going to get talked about.
It'll go on the list.
It'll go on the list and
for consideration.
We will address it. So yeah, please throw a comment. Your engagement means everything to us. Yeah. And we really appreciate it. Anything else to add for this episode?
Well, I would like to know. It's kind of the season right now of signing up for tournaments. I would love to know what tournaments people are signing up for and which ones they're most excited about.
Yeah.
that they're going to be signing up for in the next few weeks. I know a lot of them are opening registration on February 15th, so that's a big, a lot of people look forward to Valentine's Day for romance and stuff, but the day after is when a lot of tournaments open up. So a lot of us are looking forward to that. Was that funnier in my head? Probably,
but I'm sure somebody somewhere is laughing really hysterically right now, and they need.
I am, because I'm watching this right now.
They need 3 seconds to compose themselves. All right, now we can continue.
Okay,
we're ready to go.
Yeah, no, that's it. I think that's it for the show today.
All right, well, thanks for watching episode 12, Caddy Chat with Jake and Josh.
Yeah, we'll see you next week, and until then, keep your head in the game.